and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky, the sky, the sky.
Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. My co-host is at the way to the hospital. Her friend next door went in. Sorry she won't be here today, but I got a lot to get into today, so hope you're ready for an awakening for a word. All right, just want to start with the earthquake chart around the Ring of Fire. If you know what the Ring of Fire is, there's been actually about 1 or 2 a day, every other day, about 5, 6, and then 7s even as well. One country was hit so hard with so many. I mean, first they had a 7.6, and then they had like 10 after it, and then 10 the next day, and it just had a 5 yesterday. I didn't even check them today yet. I've been doing so many things. But if you look at the Ring of Fire and go around it, Japan, Australia, Alaska, parts of the United States down into Mexico are having super earthquakes, largest number and the highest ever in history that I know of in the past 100 years. All right, since 1900, they never had this many high in the Delhi record, up to 5's average, 4.7, 4.8. They don't give anything below 2.5, but you really don't feel them that much unless you're right on top of it. But they don't show Australia, sorry. Not sure why. But if you don't notice, the weather is really crazy, changing greatly, and it will change incredibly within the next year. All these fires will go up into the atmosphere and produce incredible changes in the weather by next year. Within a year, going into 2 years, we're going to have serious problems weather-wise, even though we're having it right now. Look what's going on in the United States. I don't know if you believe in truth, lies, or what you really follow, who you listen to. But I will tell you this. 90% of the stuff you hear are twisted lies. Well, the government doesn't tell you the truth, ever. All right? When they say, well, 5 people were killed, it's usually 100. All right? When they talk about things, they give you ridiculous numbers and say ridiculous things about why and how they happened. All right. Now, I'm going to get into the topic about aliens in a little bit, but I want to get into the foundation of where we're going today. When we talk about a president, which one, Trump or Musk? What are they doing to the country? What are they going to do to people? I'm going to be in trouble. Most people that are elderly will be in trouble. Most of them aren't working, don't have a second income. All right. These people paid into it. How is people sitting back and letting it happen? Are you even listening to the news? Are you even following what's really going down? Here in Hawaii, most people don't have a TV, don't have a radio. They don't listen to the news. They have no clue. Somebody said Trump's great. Don't vote for him. They don't even know why. All right. We have a lot of homeless people here. We have a lot of drug addicts going on here. And if they take away Social Security, it's going to be bad. Only the millionaires will be walking around the streets in Hawaii. driving a car and everything else. Most of these families, including I, if we lost Social Security, we'd be up a river without a paddle, down a river without a paddle, either way. But we're looking at serious conditions happening. With Musk going up and down with his money, he lost what, $240 billion. He suppose he got $100 billion from his other company now. You know, the stories of who has how much money and where's it coming from. Can we prove it? Now, just so you know, the United States has the most gold in the world, and we plead poverty with money. Money's not real, first off. Second off, when we say we owe China nothing. It's another country. We say goodbye, and that's it. All right? We can go into bankruptcy with the country if we wanted to, if we really owed them money and had to pay them. But China is creating their own war. They're building it. Now, Germany is laid back, but then we got Russia. All right? They're planning their strategy as well right now. And Mr. Putin said, destroying the United States, he said this directly, from the inside out. In other words, what did he do? Make friends with who? Trump? Trump thinks Putin's his friend? And he's not taxing Russia. Do you know why? Because it's a big evil scheme. And what nationality is Trump? Where's his wife from? Is she a legal citizen? Who's her family? How'd she get in here? What's her real name and everything else? All right. All these people they're exporting, are they going to be exporting her? Like the native people would say, are they exporting Trump as well? People that have born here, really, their families born here, which very few people have grounding foundations here. All right. From every other country. Why aren't they all being exported? Because when they came here, they slaughtered 50 million native people or more to take their land. We're an evil country. We always was. The white race, is another word for, well, I'll use the white race, Germany, and countries, Scotland, Ireland, all those places. When we had war in the United States and we have wars, they always had wars. It's the white people that start the wars and fights. I mean, even the Protestants and the Catholics were fighting all the time. So it's always been a religious war where the people even see that. Trump doesn't fit into that. He knows zero about religion. All right. Musk is the same. I've been trying to get in touch with both of them. Well, more so Musk now. I've just been writing letters to Trump because he's putting pictures of angels around him and he's on his knees praying and he's saying, let's bring religion and God back into the picture. Does he know what a God is? Do any people know what God is at any level? Well, since my co-host is not here, it's going to be a little more on a religious side today, spiritual side for words. Religions have been created by man. First off, why? Man's always protecting himself in some form, some way, and he always needs something to back that up. So we can start at the beginning of religions, which was Hinduism, the first religion on the planet, and they were working with deities. Deities were not gods, people. They were never gods. And if you pull up our stupid dictionary about God, super powerful, that doesn't mean you're a god. And then going back as far as you want. Now, history is so screwed up, and they can't prove our history. But I will tell you, you don't have to believe anything I say. That's up to you. The first group of people on this planet came down in Atlantis. There were 9 races here, and they were different colors. I mean, the ones that stayed black, yellow, red, and white, all right, the 4 races that are here, stayed. But the other ones, the purple race, the green race, the crystal race, the invisible race, all those races left. They attained a higher spiritual awareness level, whatever word you want to see, and left. They didn't need to stay in hell. All right. Now, if you ever read Dante's Inferno, he talks about levels of hell. everything he mentions in his definition is planet Earth. So to explain that, soul when it leaves the body cannot be burned, chopped up, frozen, many of those words. So it's not the same. So when people say, well, blah, 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 when you leave your body, you don't have those senses. Taste, smell, feeling, touch, all those things don't exist. And your body is not as solid as it is here. I'm not going to get into the astral plane right now, where soul goes when it dies. All souls that leave this planet go to the astral plane for a short period of time. Usually 5 to 10 years, they either stay there, come back here, or move on. And there's realms beyond the astral plane. But most souls go to the astral plane, stay there for a period of time, get a look at soul's future, and then come back here. But when they come back here, they lose everything they thought they knew. But over the past 20 years, more people are becoming a little more aware of their past lives, which will help them move into a place where they can understand what they are as soul. Hopefully, but probably not, because the ones that are here are stuck with the passions of the mind. Lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. I say, well, they were just words. How about the way I break it down? Smoking and drinking, drugs, sports. Okay. Now, the idea of cheap thrills is one of the biggest turns on for most people, and cheap sex. All right. They will control men's mind. Women are a little different. They have a lot more compassion and stuff going on in their consciousness, being, and everything else. Men don't. Men can say they're compassionate, loving, like Mr. Musk is going out saying how much he loves her, his wives, and what he did to his ex-wife, and all those kind of things. Love's not like that if you even know what love is. Saying love, I love you, is just words. How do you prove you love somebody? Well, that's what you're going to learn. It's really hard to prove it here because most people do not love somebody in a real way. It's a conditioned way. How you're programmed over your life when you were a child. How children love their mother, love their father, love their dog, love their teacher, love everybody, really. Unconditional love. John Lennon was going to bring a change to the world, and that's why he had to be killed. All right. It wasn't a stray bullet that killed him. It was an intentional, set up, programmed person to do it. The same as Oswald. You know, there's so much going on that you don't want to know or care to know. Now, bringing the things that are happening on this planet since 1950. Truman started it. Eisenhower had to keep it going, and it was called Creation of MJ-12, which is the highest government, and they don't work with our government in the United States, our local government, or our so-called outer movement of government. They are involved in the whole space program, aliens, UFOs, the whole thing. All right. It's been kept secret, and it still is, and it will always be. These so-called whistleblowers coming out are telling stories about this and that. Whether they saw something or not, so what? And if they're coming out now rather than when they saw it, how do you prove something that's 25 years old or I saw it then? Well, going back to 1952, the year I was born, a fleet of UFOs went over the White House twice in 1 week. Thousands of people saw it. It wasn't Russia, it wasn't China, it wasn't Japan, it wasn't drones. All right. Eisenhower realized something had to be done to create an MJ-12 to hide and keep track of what's really going on. They shot ships down. I mean, when you heard about Roswell, all right, 3 ships were shot down, not one. I'm not going to go into the details. The UFO world has no clue to it. Most of the speakers out there have zero clue to what they're talking about. And when you take famous names, Richard Dolan and people like that, well, I think, who cares what anybody thinks? Thinking is for a person who thinks for themselves and what it feeds them. But it won't change reality, it won't change what's really happening. and it won't help you understand what's going down. Now, there's multiple forces all in play at the same time. We got a secret government, MJ-12. We got some other group of movement, which is called UN Agenda-30, which is basically the New World Order. Now, people say conspiracy. Conspiracy just means most people have no clue what it is. All right? They don't understand it. It doesn't make it right or wrong. All right? Proof is always important. But the idea of MJ-12 is to make sure there is no proof of UFOs and aliens. All right? Now, on top of that, people get taken, abducted by aliens, the same as they do get taken by government. An ex-friend, Fred Bell. He worked for the government since he was 14 years old. He worked on the HARP system, which you should know what it is right now. All right? But he was taken out a day after he did a show on Jesse Ventura's show years ago. Another friend, Sean David Morton, discovered Area 51. He was bringing people. He always invited me out there. In a van, they take 4 or 5 people in a van, go out to the mountain overlooking Area 51, and they would watch the mothership come in. All right? When they finally snagged them up there, they bought all that land and made it the base of what it is now, how it's protected and everything else. But it was out nowhere. They didn't assume people would be that smart or smart enough to get in and see what was going on there. But when it comes in from outer space, obviously if you're near it, you can see it. Even the what was this triangle ship that everybody saw at night? Well, a friend of mine filmed it in the morning because it was still there. All right, and they were saying it was flares, and people, you're getting fed horrible information by ignorant people. Sorry to use the word. Well, just evil people maybe be a better word because they don't care about you or me. You think Musk cares about one person on this planet other than the wife that he says he loves right now? Don't you think he said that to every wife he was with when he had children and then he left them? I don't want to get into his horrible life. He's got a disease, all right, a real bad sickness. All right, I put it up online so many times, and he admitted it. He was on Saturday Night Live, and he admitted he had it. And read about his sickness. It's really bad because he can't retain thoughts, he can't think right, he can't function around people, and he can't speak. So yeah, there's a lot of problems he has. But for him to have all that money, his mind is just about nothing. I mean, there's pictures of him holding cheese online and all on his head and all that. Yes, his head's filled with cheese is right, nothing else. Then we got Trump, who's going to take this world and tear it apart, create war, create disaster, create revolution inside the United States. He's going to create war outside the United States. And now we're becoming the laughing stock of the world. Let's get into some facts, people. Mr. Trump never went to war. His father ran from the war as well. Call him a draft dodger. The same as Musk left his country not to go to war. And where did he go? To Canada. And I'm surprised a person like him doesn't have any kind of sense, isn't protecting Canada against Trump. But he isn't. And now Canada is forming their own militia of countries that are against the United States now. We're in trouble. And Mr. Putin is in the background with Mr. Trumpo saying, okay, we're buddies. And now Trump's not going to tax them. Do you understand anything about what's going on? Really? Why? They're going to come up with stories. The same as if a UFO is over your house. You can say, well, it was a lightning ball, a ball of energy that just came from energy magnetic field. They'll tell you lies on top of lies. I've been in the UFO world all my life. I've been on a spiritual quest all my life as well. two separate paths. All right. One's physical and one's not. But the physical part with aliens and Bigfoot and all those kind of things, it's all real. But what is really going down with that? Now, these are the facts. All right, people. The U.S. government was dealing with UFOs a long time ago. So was Russia. So was Germany. But their UFOs were not traveling in space or traveling in the speed of light, anything like that. They could barely get them off the ground, people. You see pictures of Russia with a ship on the ground and things like that. That's about all it could do. They weren't going over the White House or things like that. So where are they going? Now, Putin came out right before Trump was elected and says, I want Trump to tell the world what really happened at 9/11. What really happened, right? Then he says, I want Trump to tell the world what they're doing with aliens. He then said, and he said it in Russian, we're working with 27 alien races. 2 of them want to be destroying the planet. Now, when I was in the UFO world, I'm not going to say person, I'll say his name, Bob Dean. He had highest clearance in the government. And he said they were working with 27 alien races. But see, when 2 numbers match, something's wrong. I mean, if I was saying I work with aliens, I can only say we're a few, not 27. But to name 27 alien races, what are they doing from the planet? Nothing good. No race in history has ever done anything good for the human race. Building pyramids was never beneficial to humans. All right, people? The translations of the Egyptian writings and stuff of reincarnation were all lies. What they did to people when they were dying, embalming them and all those words, thinking they can reincarnate, they were fed so much bull by alien races. In the beginning, they were working with deities. The deities left, and then the aliens took over and started programming people. After Atlantis was destroyed, humans that were here became programmed. And then now, like people like Zachariah Sitchin wrote a book, and so many people believe what he translated from his writings, from the ancient writings. But he's lying. All right. The Anunnaki did not create the human race. All right. They were never gods. When we hear Inky and all those words, deities are not the same as aliens in any way. Different agendas. Now, Hinduism was based on Shiva, Durga, and Green Tara. Now, Shiva, a deity, was sexual. So were the other deities. Durga was all about sex. There's 2 sides of Shiva's story of how religion was created, but it was into what were they into? Kundalini energy, sexual energy. That's all. It was all about that, not about a god. All right. Now, a religion is a word that we created for people that follow a certain thing. You can call it what you want, a path, a way, but when you follow something, what are you following? A god, a deity, an angel, a programmed zombie? What are you following? When mankind was reprogrammed, and that was way after Atlantis was destroyed, mankind became killers. We were taught how to sacrifice people. We were taught how to eat animals and everything else, which didn't exist for a long period of time. Now, I'm aware of all my past lives, back to one before you even coming down to this realm, planet Earth. But the planet was always beautiful. Aliens came to this planet for a reason, people. Not because they want to help humans. That's the only reason they don't come here. We go places for what? Resources. And what's resources? Food, minerals, elements, metals. We don't go to places to make friends with some alien bug on another planet. or some other realm, whatever realms, not realms, because realms you leave in the physical world. All right, and there's multiple realms that soul goes through when your soul sits out of your body. But religions don't even talk about that. Now, there's 2.5 billion Christians on the planet, and they follow Christianity. They follow the word Jesus and its so-called teachings. Well, let's go back in time when Jesus was walking around in towns, villages. What was he teaching? Love thy neighbor. Did anybody understand that? No, that's too simple. But when he talked about a God, what did they know about God? At that time frame, they had multiple gods. The temples had multiple gods. We have no idea what a real God is in the first place. But man, when they saw Jesus heal certain people and things like that, they said he's God. Jesus never said he was God. To all the Christians that, if you know any, send this link to them as well. They read a Bible. That's a bunch of lies. There's little truth in it. Even Adam and Eve is a fake story, people. Even the Pope said it's a fake story. It's a story. Moses' stories. All right. If you understand the Bible, who wrote the Bible? Who wrote when Moses? Who was Moses' father? Who was writing at that time frame? What did they know about anything? All right. We know nothing about God now. So what did they know about God then? Zero. I am that I am. All right. What's that mean? What some idiot wrote. God knows what it is. I say it because it's not human in any way. We are not created in its image in any way. We don't have its awareness. We don't have its intelligence. We don't have its abilities. And we don't have its body by any means. And if people believe God would come down into this realm, if it did, this world would explode. It's the highest dimension, highest vibration that exists. And we're at the lowest. So you think those two can combine and stay happy? So Jesus came down and chose the mission. God worked with them because he chose a certain mission. But he didn't choose a mission to save mankind. He couldn't. I mean, everybody would like to in their own egotistical mind. Many souls don't deserve to be saved, people. And if you don't believe that and you're a Christian, read Revelations in the Bible. Read where John talks about what sins can't be forgiven. Well, sins are real or sins are not, depending on your belief system. Or if you're a Christian, you believe in it. Some other religions don't believe there's no such thing as sin. It's just learning not to do this or learning to do that. And what's that mean? Learning how to have more children, learning how to get more money, learning how to steal, abuse. What do you learn in a lifetime? How to drink, how to smoke, how to build a house. Wow, a car, a spaceship. Now what? Building doesn't have any connection to spiritual foundation. Nothing. All right. When we talk about religions, there's over 2,000. All right. Two of them have the most population. Like I said, Christianity has 2.5 billion. Muslims have about 2.3 billion. So guess what? That's the biggest part of the population already. And to break down the rest with 2,000 religions plus and people that don't believe in anything. All right, you got a lot of people walking around with ideas, and the ideas are ridiculous. All right, believing Jesus is God. How? Why? Because he could heal people. Because he said things. Because he died. If I died tomorrow, would you think I'm taking away your sins? Why not? All right, you can take on what you ask for, and I did many times in my life. I'm talking about asking God, working with God. at a level. God only talks to a soul for a split second. Doesn't say that, well, let's see what's going to happen. Jesus doesn't either. What Jesus teaches now is beyond man's conception. And that's why Jesus can't come back here. You think Jesus wants to come back to talk to a bunch of dummies? Let's put a whole bunch of rocks on a wall. I'm going to come down here and teach them. What are you going to teach them? My little doggy wants to come in. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Let me see if I can show you. Mr. Gizmo? Hey. I can't get him in there good. Sorry about that. But, all right. So, what did Jesus really come here for? What was taught that was never taught on this planet? What God really is. And what is a God? So, first off, to understand God, you'd have to understand yourself. So, religions don't teach that. Ego, feelings, and emotions, not God. Now, I'm going to have to do this in two separate ways, but okay, God, if you think it has feelings like you do, really, people, do you believe that God's protecting you from what? Yourself? It can't. It won't even do that. I mean, in your lifetime, your family, your children, somebody's going to get hurt, somebody's going to die, things get sick, lose your arms, legs, eyesight. If you were a caring, loving person of a person and could control that, wouldn't you change it? God created hell for a reason, and a good reason for God, but not a good reason for us. Soul has to grow, not in money, not in size, not in strength. Wisdom and knowledge are two separate words. Supposed to need both. Wisdom, eternal knowledge. But when you try to get it from the outside world, it's no longer the truth. Reading books, listen to people speak is not knowledge. Not one person on this planet has a psychic ability at 100%. Anybody on this whole planet. And I'll tell you why. I was a high priest when I was 16. And I spent years working in the psychic abilities and things. I learned there's two different magics, white magic, black magic. Jesus taught white magic. Moses taught black magic. I'm not going to get into it. Killing and dying has to do with black magic. Healing and birth doesn't have anything to do with black magic. It's white magic. Jesus was a white healer, not white in color, white magic healer. He had 32 psychic abilities which people had in Atlantis. But we weren't killing animals. We weren't destroying things, making things to hurt people. All right. When Atlantis was destroyed, like I said, 4 races were here. And now alien races came down to play. The Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs, all followed alien beings, not gods of any kind. Their teachings, if you know anything about hieroglyphics, and just look at them, and what they did for reincarnation was evil. You don't embalm a person so they can reincarnate back into that body. You don't bust their skull open and break your jaw and pull their brain out to make them reincarnate. You don't put a bunch of things in a coffin to help them at any level. All the things that they did were evil. Nothing to do with spiritual, a spiritual word for something. But when they started moving forward, these giant pyramids, why? Well, they were giants. You don't build a building 30 feet high, a doorway 25 feet high. For what? For a 6-foot person walking through it? What was inside? What was anywhere? What did they do? What did they want? There was nothing good going on ever. It was always wars. After Atlantis was destroyed, there was always wars of some kind. Human war, family war, tribal war, all right? Never was there peace after Atlantis was destroyed. Now, getting to who's destroying it all? People with an ego. How's an ego grow? Usually, which is in the Bible, and Jesus said it 3 times, by money. Money destroys your consciousness and your belief and your heart, your senses and emotions. Musk is so screwed up. He doesn't know which way to go with his money, up, down, sideways, and buy everything, sell everything, buy everything. He just sold X to himself. All right. And he lost what? $240 billion since December. And now it's supposedly Starlink or whatever it was just made him a fortune. Up and down with money. Money is the root to all evil. Whoever said that, I've said many times over. But it is. And as long as money is the number one thing on everybody's mind, how could we move forward? How are we going to really learn what compassion is? When everybody loses, if we all lose Social Security, what are we going to be on the streets walking around looking for food? More people are going to die, and they know that. Now, bringing in what else is affecting the planet. It's called UN Agenda 30. The New World Order says there'll be one person in charge of the world. Now, the sad part, 193 countries agreed on that already. I'm serious. All right. So now, like Canada's getting all these countries to form with them. You know, we're looking for a war. And if we make everybody an enemy, nobody's going to bring stuff into the United States. And Trump thinks all these companies are going to come into the United States. Oh, yeah, I'm packing my company up. Let's move into the United States. Is he going to pay for that? Is he going to pay for them to move here, rebuild, and put it up for them? Maybe they would come back then. Maybe. But I doubt it. This country is going to pot in a lot of more ways than one. Now, where do you feel you fit into this world? Do you? Why? What's the number one thing? Money. What's the second number thing? Entertainment. Then what? Sex, marriage, children. Right? Those words. Which one of them is spiritual? Think about it. Now, for the Christians, again, I didn't say it before. John writes, Revelations is short. Everybody should read it. You could read it in an hour or two. If you're slow reading, maybe a couple hours, but whatever. It's a short chapter. It was written by John, and he goes into what sins cannot be forgiven. Well, no, only one small part of it. But he talks about Walking Dead and everything else in that whole thing. He explains what's going to be happening. That was how long ago? But look how long it's taken for that to actually happen. Man's been going downhill ever since they slaughtered Jesus for no reason. Well, now, spiritual people, quote, the word spiritual people, have been taken out all through history. People don't want to know the truth about God and soul and spirit, so they kill them. Now, people that other people think are spiritual are taken out. I mean, people like Gandhi. I mean, people, you go back in history, there's new religions, and one of them was taken out that I know. But when they take a person out, it destroys the religion itself. All right? When we go back to the deities that were here, Shiva's story is incredible. If you want to believe it's real or not, how it went down. Deities are real. They're not in a physical body, not in a physical form. I don't know. Maybe in those time frames, they did use a body. We could use a body. When we die, we don't. We reincarnate back into a body. I mean, even Quetzalcoatl, the deity of Mexico, said it was a man. When he died, he became Quetzalcoatl, the deity. So, the truth behind that is up to you to find out. There's so many things real about it, but so many false lies about it as well. Some religions say, well, when you work with those things, you're just working with your higher self. Well, let me go up in an elevator to get to a higher place. No, you are what you are. You don't become higher or anything else while you're here. Your body can't go to a higher vibration, it would explode. The same as we can't travel through space on a spaceship, which how they travel, people. Aliens are not the same as us in any way, and they're not going to be coming here to help us in any way. They gave help to Trump by helping people get in place, and it's all a matter of timing. Like Tesla, not the Tesla car, not the person that's claiming all this and everything else, real Tesla, who worked on inventions. He created 50 of the most deadliest weapons, which he gave to the United States government. He worked in New Jersey. I actually did all my UFO work where he worked with DuPont. Underground base there. In Jersey, up in Wanacue, they flooded a whole city. And for 9 months, ships were going in and out of there. The Army was stationed around it. You don't hear much about that, do you? Tesla came out. When he went near his end, he had so many inventions, and they were trying to kill him, and Bell took over his rights and copyrights and did everything. He was in a hotel in New York City for 10 years. Whether they took his brain out or whatever they did, he couldn't be touched, and he was like just a zombie. But when he gave everything away, they opened a Tesla museum in his country where he's from. But obviously, they don't have the 50 weapons that he gave to the United States. Neither does Russia or China. They steal things from us, like the HARP system. 5 countries have the HARP system now. It was the most deadliest weapon on the planet. Only one invention that Tesla created. But directed energy weapons are a lot more usable, more dangerous, and a lot of other things as well. That's only one of them. Now, to show you how bad it is, Musk created this plane, rocket, spaceship, or whatever words you want to use for what he created. It's the fastest thing on the planet. He said when a plane, our jet, goes out to attack a place, that plane can go there, attack, and come back already. He put weapons on it. Now, does he have the right to make a device like that? And is it for who? How do you classify a weapon and have it being the most dangerous thing on the planet and get away with it? People, you support nothing. You believe in nothing. And sure, we're going to go to hell because nobody cares enough to care about something. Think about it. What do you care about? What's the most important thing in your life right now? You know what mine is? Dying. Getting out of this body, getting out of hell. Because you can't say you're spiritual if you're walking around in hell. Well, I'm spiritual. I'm a 6th-dimensional being. Yeah, and what? Can you levitate up to the sky right now in front of us? No. Can you levitate a car across the sky? No. Can you do anything? So-called 6th-dimensional being? Aliens can go through walls and doors. I mean, we had the abilities when we were in Atlantis. We didn't need those abilities, though. You were psychic in every way. You could read and see and know people's thoughts, minds. You didn't have to talk. It was different. But they all cared about each other. So when we talk about what's going to happen with starvation, homeless, what's going to go down? We're going to see terrorism like you never saw before. What were those movies, road rage, where they drive around in cars and just kill people, and all those kind of things are going to be happening in super large numbers. But you'd think somebody would be smart. In war, we send the children out to get killed. In a war, the only war should be against the leader of the country. Putin should be taken out. Chinese government people should be taken out, the high people. Not the children and people, the young people that have to do what they're told. Like the Vietnam War, when they invented the draft, well, when they used the draft again, you had to be 17. 17-year-old kid going to battle, knowing what? If I was on a battlefield, I wouldn't want a young kid next to me. I want to know the person that already knows what's going on. So the age is what, 17 to 25? They should be hiring 25 to 35-year-old people to go into war. People with awareness and abilities and conscious of what's really happening. No, I want to get high, I want to have sex, I want to get high, I want to have sex. Morals deteriorated worse than they ever were, which means they were never good. To kill one of the most spiritual people, well, the most spiritual person to ever walk this planet, is the highest ignorance you could possibly think about. Why? Why? Why would the Romans and the countries, why would they do things like that? They didn't have any truth. They had no truth about a real God. Worshipping statues. Ten Commandments was written by Moses, who was a black magician. We've been on a downhill for a never-ending cycle, and it doesn't seem like anybody wants them to pull out of it. And right now, with 8 billion people, it's hard to pull out of it. I just need a sip of water. Sorry, my throat's crashing. Something's in the air here. They keep spraying chemtrails over us. And it's not good. All right. So where do we go? What do we do? There's not much you can do. Trump is making sure he removes anybody that could say something bad about him or do anything bad about him. Musk is just as evil. Taking away from the poor, starving the poor, taking away homes from the middle class, lower middle class people. Why? Take away their medicine, take away their medical, let them all die. Well, the New World Order only wants about 40% of the population here. So figure it out. Do they want homeless? Do they want sick people? Do they want to take care of it? No, they don't want anybody that's going to be unuseful to them. Not to the planet, but unuseful to them. Animals? What do we need animals for? Going to do what aliens do, eat humans. Sorry, people, that's what their diet is. The races that come here. Like I said, they come here for a reason, and it's not to help make us spiritual or an aware being or give us better lifestyles, because we can't do that. We don't want it. Men can't live without sex and drugs and drinking and sports. They're the only things that entertain men. Buddhism and some religions praying all their lives. Praying to what? Buddha didn't believe in a God, a solid, singular God. All right. Awareness of what? Universal awareness of nothing? Mankind knows nothing about a real God or the higher realms, and they're real, people. If you learn to leave your body, which is the starting point, is called astral projection. If you can't do that, you'll probably never get into remote viewing, which is evil, but then get into the idea of going beyond both into soul travel. Means traveling in your body, your true body of soul, and going into a higher realm. Traveling around here isn't going to help you. If you were remote viewing China, Russia, it's only good for people in war. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. George Washington was a remote viewer. He was psychic. All right. He gave a prophecy, and you should read it. I'm sure you can pull it up online somewhere. That's how I found it. But I worked in the Jumo Mansion, where George Washington's headquarters was. I was doing Ghostbusting, spirit release, really, at that time, working with one of the top mediums in the United States, and I was a high priest. It all came to a crash. We were going to do a movie on Madame Jumel, who actually took over, who was George Washington's illegitimate daughter. and nobody else on the planet knows that, except the person I work with, because she was a channeler, a medium at the time it was called, became Madame Jumel. All right, we learned a lot. We found secret documents in the walls. We had the permission to go in any room, anytime, do everything except one room where Madame Samuel Jumel died. Nobody's allowed in that room ever. But it's the most haunted house in New York City. And I worked there for almost a year and a half with my friend. Found out Aaron Burr lived there. Once he killed Hamilton, he moved in with Madame Jumel and stayed there until he died. So, yeah, it was a haunted house, and it had the most important history. George Washington had headquarters there because he could see the East and West River when the boats came in. All right? But it was always war. Nothing was ever about peace. When the white man smoked with the native people, oh, let's use the peace pipe. It was never a peace pipe. White man called it a peace pipe. It was a prayer pipe. You said prayers into it, not peace. All right, well, we're smoking together, so we must be peaceful. No, we're not. They killed, what, there was 580 tribes, roughly? And they slaughtered most of all the tribes. And the few tribes that are left are pretty controlled by the government, sadly to say. But, you know, we never moved on. The white man kept Native children in Catholic prisons until 1920s, 25. If they didn't reform to their rules and regulations, they just killed them. Really, it's killing 50 million Native people in a matter of the history of the Native wars. All right. But there was no peace ever along that line. Wounded Knee was the worst. I mean, what the white man did, slaughtering women and children. There was no cavalry there, no army, man. They were all out fighting, and they came to a village with just the women and children and killed all of them. Raped them and killed them. I could go on to the details of that if you really want to know how bad it was. But it was the worst. All right, you know, killing in self-defense is one thing. It's called self-defense. But killing for the desire to take something is horrible. It's the worst. Rape and murder. I think rape's worse than murder because murder, you leave and you have to deal with the suffering or the disasters of what was created. But when you get raped, it's for life until you die. People, I know all about abuse. I mean, I got a case going against the Boy Scouts even right now. I got a lot of things happening because of that, of things that go down in your childhood, called abuse. And mankind abuses children in almost every case. Not obvious in a lot of ways. Moving a child from state to state is not a good thing for a child. They get friends and they have to leave them. I mean, all those kind of things. It's abuse. Mother and father splits up, and then they have two mothers, two fathers, and three fathers, or whatever the story is. A child needs both male and female energy to understand life, because that's what we are. And to understand it, you need both. So when you have one, you get fed half of the energy and the vibrations and the truth that you need. So who's killing who and who's killing the planet? And on top of all that, all right, aliens are here. 9 races are here, people. I know there's 27 races, but they can't do much to the planet or to people. The ones that are here are dangerous and are destroying. All right, when they abduct a person, a child, an embryo, all right, what do you think of the results or what the effects of that is? People that get abducted, get next to an alien, their life is changed completely. And sure, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to remember it. They don't want to know it anymore. But when you lose a child, I work with women when I was young that lost their child that 8.9 months pregnant or whatever. In the 9th month, losing a child. I saw the sonogram. I forgot what they were called then, but X-rays of the invisible baby. They were there one day and had a child growing inside them. And the next day they went there and there was nothing in there. And the doctor said, "Well, you couldn't have been pregnant. There's no signs of residue of being pregnant." So when they strip a baby out of a woman's womb, it's a nightmare for the person that's going through it, and they don't want to relive it. And they're not going to go out publicly and be attacked by people saying you're crazy. Most of the people I work with didn't come out and didn't want me to go out publicly. I never wrote books on that because they didn't want that publicized. They didn't want to be called crazy. I was called crazy all my life. I admitted when I saw it, when I was around and things like that. I was next to an alien. I was next to a ship. I was next to a Bigfoot. All right, and I worked with spirits and demons and you name it. I did exorcisms, all that kind of stuff. It's all real. Now, years ago, I don't know how many years ago it was, the Pope hired 1,500 people to do exorcisms because the priests couldn't do it. Because there's a fine line between alien abduction and demon possession. Aliens do leave implants on people, and if you listen to my show ever, she's not here today. She's at the hospital right now. She's been abducted much of her life, and an incredible story, but probably the most important one of abduction. Considering nobody believes it, or it's not real, it's a government program, and then you got one of the top speakers in the UFO world, Stephen Greer, and I always have to mention his sick, pathetic name. All right, because he's controlling the whole UFO movement with lies. He's going in front of Congress with lies. Oh, all aliens are good. No, none are good. We wouldn't be animals the way we are if any alien race was good. They never taught us anything good. All right? So who's destroying the world? What is happening to the world? And who should we blame? Just aliens? No, there's demons. Satan. Controlling a lot of people as well. Which means that the murder and the crime and the abuse growing intentionally, greatly. All right? It comes from somewhere. And there was a special, I wish I would have, that was a long time ago, but it was a special on TV about young children between 4 and 5 doing horrible things that they shouldn't even know about. Going in a room and stabbing, they're trying to stab their mother, throwing their cat out the window, all those kind of things aren't taught. I could say the word masturbation, girls going in the middle of a store and start masturbating. Do you remember when Rosemary's Baby came out? Horrible movie. Interesting. But The Exorcist was a real story of a boy, not a girl. All right? And the things that happen when a person's possessed. Now, most of the people in the nut house are not crazy per se. You know what the word crazy means? You don't fit into normal, whatever that means, reality. You don't accept normal things. When you're crazy, they always ask you, do you talk to God? You can't say yes to that. If you always feel somebody's following you, you don't want to say yes to that. If you want to hurt other people, of course, you're not going to say yes to that either. So there's like 5 things you always got to learn to say if you're ever going to stand in front of a psychiatrist. I did. When I was at the phone company, they said I got hurt on a UFO. They said I got hurt on a UFO. For real. It was in court for 2 years. And then guess what? My lawyer retired, probably bought out, and then the case was dropped. All right, considering he said you're going to win lots of money and all the time and everything. I actually was in California flying back to Jersey to go to court. So it was a sad thing when it ended because it just was dropped. And then the new lawyer said, well, give me $10,000. I'll take the case, but you're going to lose it. How could he even know that? He doesn't even know what the case is about. And my lawyer told me I got a 100% chance of winning. There's no way they can prove that I was hurt on a UFO, which they were trying to say because they didn't want to take over the responsibility for me getting hurt on the job. So, people in power do not care about middle and low income people. Period. Why should they? If you got a mansion, $50 mansion, $100,000 mansion. Hold on 1 second. Well, look, it's time. I'm going to cut it off here. I'll probably continue this in a couple days because Tina won't be back on until next Thursday. Remember what I said. Send this link to everybody you know. Open for questions, debate, anything you want. You disagree, anytime. All right? I deal with truth. I don't lie. I'm responsible to God. Nobody else. Peace, love, compassion. Till next time.